Okay, here we go. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. So I want to get right into it. I want to do a training today on let me see here. Let me do this. Let me do this. There we go. Let me make sure I'm good to go. Let's do the view in speaker mode. Okay, perfect. There we go. I want to do the training today. I want to get right into it and talk about what it's like to get into that first meeting. Guys, I promise you, we're going to be doing a lot of training on the IULs. We're going to be doing a lot of training on indexed annuities. But just like I tell everybody that I train and develop, if you can't go from elementary school all the way to high school, right? Nod your heads if you guys agree that you remember a time in your life when you were about to graduate and go to middle school where you were just a little bit scared because it was a higher level of education to you, right? And then you go through middle school and then you're about to graduate and go to high school and you were just a little bit scared, because you're about to go into another higher level of education and you're worried as to whether or not you can handle it. And now as adults, we wish that we could go right back to middle school and high school again because of how easy it was, right? What was the difference? Why were we scared in the beginning, but then now we kill to go back? It's because we took steps. We went up the ranks little by little, little by little, little by little. We were able to graduate every single grade because we were little by little leveling up, leveling up, leveling up, leveling up. If you would have taken me from second grade, third grade and said, hey, we're going to take you next year to high school classes, I would have failed. I would have flunked out. There's no way I could have handled it because I wouldn't have gone up the levels. I would have done leaps and bounds and it would have just been overwhelming to me. So why do I say that? I say that because, as I put together these trainings, I'm doing it with the full intention of getting as many people out on the field as possible. And being that a lot of you guys are just getting your licenses on, just getting your feet wet, I want you to really first understand how to sell some of the basics. So today we're going to talk about final expense, how to sell it, how to prep for it, what that meeting should go like, okay? Because there's a psychology to sales, okay? So whether you're gathering your lead from an exclusive lead, whether you're gathering your lead through referrals, whether you're gathering your lead through social media, ad spend that you guys are doing, whichever place you're gathering it, 62% of the baby boomers today in the middle American community are looking for final expense insurance. And it's just a matter of going to them and presenting the solutions that you have. So first off, I want to prep you with the psychology of it. Remember, the final expense product is sold to the baby boomer generation. The baby boomer generation is old school. That means that they're not big on technology and they're very big on manners and they're very good on impressions. When I say impression, I'm telling you right now, if there's a meeting that you should go to where you're dressed business professional, it's that one. It's that one. You could get away with meeting a baby boomer with a nice button down if it's untucked and a nice pair of dark blue jeans and some dress shoes. You could get away with that. You could even get away with doing a polo, jeans, and some sneakers. You could get away with that. I wouldn't recommend it in the baby boomer generation. The baby boomer generation needs to be a meeting that you treat yourself like that old school mindset. That is a shirt and tie type of an environment. Okay. If you're going to do a polo, for example, we just got new polos, right? TKO shirt polos. If you're going to do that, make sure you got a blazer on, make sure you got some dress slacks on, make sure you're looking professional. Number one. Number two, they're very old school. They want business cards. They want business cards, okay? Number three, that generation is used to a high level of fraud. Elderly fraud, especially in the financial services industry where we're capturing people's confidential information, it's enormous. So you got to do everything in your power to bring that anxiety level down. How do you bring that anxiety level down? Well, for starters, number one, you should have a printout of your state license. Have a printout of your state license. Have it there ready to go. Number one. Number two, be ready on your computer if you need to go to the state website and log into the state website to show your license, to show your credential, your credibility. Be ready to be able to do that because that's heavily important. Okay. I don't know if I'm on number three or number four, but have brochures with you. You know, a lot of the companies that we're selling from the final expense standpoint, I'm going to tell you right now, it's Oxford Life, right? They got a 5-minute approval process. They got an electronic application. It's a phenomenal platform, right? The other one after that I would be looking at is Mutual of Omaha, has the Living Promise platform, right? Write that down. Mutual of Omaha's final expense platform is called Living Promise. The Forrester's final expense platform is called the Plan Right. Plan Right. Right? Those are really kind of the top 3 you want to go ahead and be looking at. Now, if you're going to step outside, you know, outside of that, you can look at a company called Americo. Americo's got a very fast approval on the final expense side. Problem with Americo is that their prices are marginally higher than a lot of the other price points that we have in our carriers, right? There's other solutions. Guys, I can go on and on and on and on. You should at least have a familiarity with 3. So if you're asking me, I'm going to tell you Oxford Financial is number 1. Definitely Oxford Financial, number 1. Number 2, I'm hitting up Forrester's. Number 3, I'm hitting up Mutual of Omaha, right? Think about those company names, very reputable names in the industry, especially Mutual of Omaha. Everybody knows Mutual of Omaha, right? Have yourself some pamphlets, some brochures from all 3 of those companies ready to go, right? Now, Tony, how do you get those pamphlets? It's simple. You call the sales desk and you ask them to send you some. They're free. They'll mail them to your house. They're free. It's not a problem. You know, having some of those pamphlets with your business card stapled on, that's a strong tool that you can give to your client. Again, I'm thinking old school. New school is very different. New school is, yo, can you just send me something quickly? Boom, I'll take a screenshot, send it to you. It'll be right there. Boom, I'll email it to you. Boom, right there. Like, new school is very, very different, but you cannot try to treat old school the same way you would treat new school. You can't. You just quite frankly, you can. And that's such a big market. It is such an enormous market. I mean, if you look at, for example, Oxford's starting agents off at a 90% contract. So think about it. You sell a product on an Oxford Financial final expense platform, $83 a month. That's $1,000 of premium, $1,000 annual premium at a 90% contract, which is a brand new associate level agent. You just made $900 in commissions. You understand what that is? 5-minute approval process. 5-minute approval process. That is insanity that I want you guys to be able to take advantage of. So let's go right into the meeting, right? If I'm going into that meeting, number one, I'm going to, in today's world, I'm going to contact the client ahead of time. Right at the parking lot, I'm going to contact the client. I'm going to say, Mr. Client, my name is Tony Martinez. I have a scheduled appointment with you. I just want to let you know that I'm here. I'm at your driveway, but I want to be very, very, very respectful of social distancing. And so I have a few different ways that we can meet today. If you'll just give me 2 minutes to explain. Sure, no problem. Tell me about it. Okay, well, Mr. Client, I can meet you one of 3 ways. The first way, I'm going to come with a mask. I'm going to come with gloves. I'm going to hand sanitize, and I'm going to meet you at your house, and I'm going to be 6 feet apart from you at your dining room table. That's the first option that we could meet. The second way that we could meet, Mr. Client, is that we could actually meet in your front porch. I have a table in the back of my car. I'll bring that table out. I'll bring 2 fold-out chairs, and we'll sit 6 feet apart, and we'll be out in the open air, so you don't have to worry about, any worries in that capacity. Or the third way that we could meet, Mr. Client, is very simple. You can come outside. I need to verify with my eyes that you are who you say you are, and that nothing is going on with you from a health standpoint. You're not bedridden. And once I verified that, Mr. Client, all I need you to do is send me a picture of your driver's license, and we can transact business right here over the phone while I sit in my car and you sit in the comfort and luxury of your home. Which of the 3 do you prefer? Right? So let me repeat those 3 again. 1, I meet you in your house, mask, gloves, hand sanitizer, 6 feet apart in your house, in your dining room. Second, I bring a little table with me. We sit in the front porch, two fold-out chairs, 6 feet apart. I'm still wearing my mask. I'm still wearing my gloves, but we're outside in the open air. Or the third, you know what? You stay in your house. I stay in the car. Come outside. I need to verify that you are who you say you are, and that nothing medically is going on with you. You're not bedridden. Send me a picture of your driver's license. We can do everything else over the phone. How do you prefer? Boom, boom, boom. You know what that means now? Think about this. Sometimes your client is 50 years of age. They can operate quickly. Sometimes they're 75. You know what that means? They're going to take their time. That is not a block off an hour type of a meeting. That is block an hour and a half type of meeting. It could go in a half hour. It could go in an hour. It could take you an hour and a half. Be prepared for that world. Be prepared for that world. Something else that I recommend that you do is when you're scheduling the meeting, let them know what car you're driving in. Let them know, hey, Mr. Klein, I'm coming in a gray Ford F-150. Hey, Mr. Klein, I'm coming in a blue BMW. Hey, Mr. Klein, I'm coming in a Nissan Sentra. I'm coming in that. Let them know what you're coming in, because remember, the things that they're being talked to constantly is elderly fraud. Elderly fraud, elderly fraud, elderly fraud. Okay? That's the first thing. Now, when you get into the meeting, okay, this is something I always say in all my meetings. Number one, thank you so much for having me. You have a lovely home. I'm going to tell you this right now, whether they have a lovely home or they don't, you make sure you tell them they have a lovely home. Okay? That is lovely to them. Okay? That is their lovely home. Right? The next thing you want to do is you want to tell them, Mr. Klein, I have us down for about 45 minutes to an hour. Is that going to be good for you? Or do you have a hard stop at any point in time? I'll repeat it. Mr. Klein, I have us down for 45 minutes to an hour today. Is that going to work for you, or do you have a hard stop at any point in time? Now, if the client tells you, listen, I got 20 minutes, I want you to do something. Take a breath, relax, and realize something. You're not going to make the sale in those 20 minutes. You're not. Stop thinking if you speak fast and you show the quote really quick, you're going to get the application. You won't. You won't. If all you got is 20 minutes, you have to analyze your business for a moment and say, what did I do in my phone call that I could improve upon so that I don't have that happen any longer? Number one. And then number two, fact find enough in those 20 minutes that you open up a case and schedule a follow-up. In those 20 minutes, I want to be able to explain to him how final expense works. I want to explain to him what his budget is, and I want to know what is he trying to accomplish. So I'm going to explain final expense. I want to learn about his budget. I then want to learn what is he trying to accomplish, because the end result is this: I have a solution for you. Mr. Klein, are you? So I'm going to role play that, right? If someone tells me I got 20 minutes, perfect. Mr. Klein, it looks like you're looking for final expense insurance to cover your funeral costs. Have you thought about how much insurance coverage it is that you need? Okay, awesome. Are you aware how final expense works? Let me explain. It's a very simple product. You make a monthly payment and you're going to have the amount of insurance that you sign up for until 120 years of age. How long do you have to make payments? Until 100 years of age. If you pass away before 100, we're going to pay your family that death benefit on a tax-free basis. The only way this pays out is if you pass away. It's a very simple 5-minute process. The most insurance that I could get you is $40,000. And no, you do not have to get any kind of a medical done. We will pull your background and your history of your medicals, but you're not going to have to get any blood drawn or any urine samples done today. Very simple, right? I mean, think about that. Let me explain it one more time. Mr. Klein, are you aware how final expense works? Let me explain. You're going to sign up for a monthly amount of insurance. You're going to make a monthly payment. That payment you're going to have to make until 120 years of age, and that insurance is going to last you until 121 years of age. If you pass away before 100 years of age, as long as you're making your monthly payment, we pay your family that amount of insurance. Now, that amount of insurance cannot go over $40,000, and you do not have to get a medical exam done, Mr. Klein. We just have to submit an application. They'll look at the history of your medical result reports, and they'll be able to give us an answer within minutes to days. This policy will only pay in the event of your passing, Mr. Client. Pretty simple to understand, right? Well, can the price of the product change? No, Mr. Client. The price is going to be level across the board. Well, what if I live until 105 years of age? You're only going to make payments until age 100, and then you own this insurance policy for the rest of your life. Pretty simple. Pretty stinking simple. Can I cancel it at any time? Yes, Mr. Client, you can, but I recommend before you do that, you give us a call so we can talk to you about your options, because there might be some alternative options for you. What's the most amount of insurance I could get? Maximum was about $40,000 worth of coverage. Minimum is about $2,000. It's designed to cover your final costs. But what happens if the final costs are less than the amount of insurance? Well, then the remaining balance would go to your family on a tax-free basis. Well, what if something happens to me within the first 2 years of my policy? Well, the insurance company reserves the right to do a second look. Okay, it's called. Anybody know what it's called? Anybody know what it's called? 2-year? Come on now.
Contesting.
Contestability period. Correct. Mr. Klein, if something happens to you within the first 2 years, the insurance company has the right to contest. Contest doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to pay. Contest just means that they want to make sure that what you put in the application from day one was accurate. What you put on the application was accurate and that you didn't lie. If for whatever reason they do find out that there was a lie within that 2-year period, Mr. Client, they could refuse to pay and only pay you the amount of premiums that you've paid in thus far. But what if I lied and it's past 2 years? Mr. Client, after 2 years, the insurance policy is unilateral, which means that they have to pay you regardless of whether or not there was a lie in your application or not. Does that make sense what I just explained? Everybody? Pretty simple product, right? Final Expense is a very simple, plain vanilla type product. You're not talking indexing. You're not talking, living benefits. How much would it pay? You're not talking any of that stuff. Any of that stuff. What is the actual product of Final Expense? It's a whole life policy, guys. It's a whole life policy. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, wait, doesn't whole life accumulate cash? It does. It's not even worth talking about, though. That's the truth. It's not even worth talking about. It's such a minuscule amount. If you go down that path to start explaining the cash accumulation, now they want to know interest rates. Where are they accumulating that money? Do I have access to that money? Does this, does that? It's not even worth bringing it up, guys. It's genuinely not even worth bringing it up. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS, if you guys heard Mr. Mike D'Amico talk about that. You know what I'm talking about when I say that. my son came back all weekend. That's all you can say. Hey, I'm Mike D'Amico. Nice to meet you. Right? Think about Mike. Mike is that old school professional guy. Did anybody shake hands with Mike? Anybody shake hands with Mike? How does Mike shake hands? He's got a firm grip. He's that old school. He's that baby boomer generation, right? Where it's like a man is a man is a man kind of guy. Yeah, that's the world that you're going into in Final Expense. You got to keep it very simple. Keep it very simple. Now, another thing I'm going to recommend to you is this. I'm speaking at my normal tone right now and at my normal speed, which is fast, right? I can speak pretty quickly, especially when it comes to a topic that I'm very familiar with. You can't do that in the baby boomer generation. You can't. You have to genuinely you got to pay attention to them. Now, don't get me wrong. You'll come across some that are like perfect sound mind, no problem, right? You will, but then you're going to come across some that, you know what, this industry is not that common to them, right? And they prefer things to be a little bit slower in the way that you explain it. So you got to have the ability to read that. You got to read it based on how they respond, how they talk, how fast, how slow are they moving. It is very, very important that they feel very comfortable with you. It is very important that they feel comfortable with you. Guys, their sons and their daughters are warning them constantly about crooks in this industry. Constantly warning them about crooks in this industry. And believe it or not, I'm not calling you a crook. Nobody in this organization is a crook. But no matter what, they need you to prove that first. You are guilty before proven innocent. You've got to come in and prove yourself, which means you have to smile. Okay, you have to speak very clear. You've got to be very understanding to them. You've got to bring with you the material. Okay, so that's the way that I would explain it in a 20-minute session. Mr. Client, does that product make sense to you? It does. How much insurance is it that you think you need? My clients are typically purchasing anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 because a traditional funeral cost would cost about $10,000. A traditional cremation will cost about $5,000. And that's Florida. I encourage you, research the average cost in your area. As a matter of fact, if you come across an online printout of the cost for funeral costs in your area, print it out. Have it with you. That way you're not saying a number to say a number. You're saying a number and then validating it. Here, Mr. Client, take a look at this. That again builds a little bit more credibility for you. Okay? So now if I have the entire hour, they give me that entire hour, perfect. They're going to do a couple things. They're going to offer you a drink. They might even offer you some crackers. What do you say if they offer it to you? Anybody? See minor? Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Of course I will. Thank you so much.
Chips.
Yes. Let me tell you something. And I'll say, and they are nervous that you're in their home. When you show that you could be comfortable enough to accept what they're offering you, their tension levels go down. Their tension levels go down. I promise you, If they offer you something, you say yes. If they say, what would you like? Juice, this, that, the other. If you're very iffy about the stuff they're offering you, accept water. Ma'am, I love a glass of water. Not a problem. Thank you so much. I graciously appreciate it. If they offer you some crackers, take a nibble of a cracker. It's not going to kill you, guys. It ain't going to kill you. But say yes. Don't say no. If you say no, they know that you're a little bit, wound up being in a complete stranger's home, and then therefore they remain wound up. But if they offer, you say yes. Their stress levels will go down. Your stress levels will go down, and then they can actually listen to you without a problem. I promise you, it works 100% of the time, especially in the Latin community, guys. Especially, they want to feed you left and right. Say yes to the water, say yes to the snacks. I promise you, you won't regret it. You will not regret it, okay? Okay, awesome. So if I got the full hour, again, I've said hello, thank you so much. You have a lovely home. You've sat down. I've got us down for 45 minutes to an hour. Is that going to work? Yes, it is. Perfect. Mr. Client, we're here today because you had made a request for some final expense insurance. Okay, I just want to take a moment to introduce to you what it is that I do. And I'm going to give you kind of a 50-foot bird's eye view. And then based on that introduction, I want you to tell me where you would like to lead today's conversation. I'll repeat it. Mr. Client, I want to take a moment to introduce to you what exactly it is that I do. I'm going to give you a 50-foot bird's eye view of it. And based on that introduction, I want you to tell me what on earth it is you'd like to talk about today. I want you to lead that conversation. See, I like to give my clients the feeling that they're in control, even though I'm still steering the ship. I'm giving them choices. I'm not telling you today we're talking about this. I'm saying we can talk about this, this, or this. All three of these are my specialty, but you tell me which one you want. And everything is that. Everything is you have a choice. Do you want to talk about this? Do you want to talk about this? Boom, process of elimination. You want to talk about this? You want to talk about this? Boom, process of elimination. You give them too many options, they'll freeze up. They'll freeze up. And if you don't give them any options, they're going to look at you like you're an idiot. They're going to be like, well, what are you here for? Right? So you have to lead the conversation while letting them feel like they're leading the conversation. Right? So I'll repeat it. Mr. Client, thank you so much for having me today. I have you down for about 45 minutes to an hour. Is that going to work for you today? Yes, it will. Great. I'd like to first start by giving you an introduction of what it is that I do, Mr. Client. And then based on that introduction, I want you to tell me which of those particular topics would you like to talk about today. That way you can lead the conversation. Great. I specialize in two areas. The first area is within regards to insurance protection. I want to make sure that against the risks that we have in today's world, you're protected. That could be anything from life insurance protection to long-term care protection if you need a nurse to take care of you, to even living benefit protection if you develop cancer, stroke, or heart attack. Now, the second area that I specialize in, Mr. Klein, is wealth distribution. Right? I work with people that are in retirement or nearing retirement in making sure that I can help them stretch their money out so they, number one, don't outlive that money, and number two, don't pay high taxes on that money. Mr. Klein, out of those two topics, which would you like to talk about today? You see what I just did? I'll say it again. Mr. Klein, I'm going to give you a 50-foot bird's eye view of some of the services that I provide. And based on that introduction, I want you to lead the way and tell me which one you want to talk about. I specialize in two areas. The first area is with regards to insurance protection. I want to make sure that in the event of an unfortunate passing, in the event that you need a nurse to take care of you, or in the event that you develop cancer, stroke, or heart attack, there's an insurance policy that'll protect you. The second area, place that I specialize in, is with regards to wealth distribution. This is having a conversation about your assets and making sure that, number one, you don't outlive that money, and number two, you pay the least amount in taxes. Which of those two would you like to talk about today? And for those of you that are listening to this and you're like writing it down and your fingers are burning, you're like, oh my God, I can't keep up, Tony, slow down. I'm recording this today, guys. It's okay. I'm going to give you the ability to pause, rewind, and come back. Okay? So with that being said, I let them lead. Which of these two would you like to talk about today? They're going to say, I want to talk about this. What is it naturally going to be 90% of the time? I want to talk about insurance. Okay, perfect. So Mr. Klein, I first want to start off with this. Do you currently have any insurance in place? It's my number one question. Do you have insurance in place? I do or I don't. Great. If they do, learn about it. What company is it with? How long have you had it? What are you paying monthly? You know, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. If they tell you they don't, okay, not a problem. Not a problem. Mr. Client, do you have an idea of how much insurance it is that you're looking for? Well, I'm looking something to cover my final cost. That's what they're going to always tell you. I'm looking for something that's within my budget. They're going to tell you that, guys. Lead generation from final expense is the middle American market on a fixed income. They don't have those millions of dollars to blow and spend. They're probably living on a small little pension that they got from their employer that they were working at and some social security income. I guarantee you the majority of your clients are not going to have more than $2,000 a month in fixed income. Guarantee you, especially in that world. So in their mind, their budget is between 50 to 100 bucks. 50 to 100 bucks, 50 to 100 bucks. So you might say, well, man, that's crappy. Okay, let's run those numbers. 75 a month is 900 of target. 75 a month is 900 of target. You do one of those 5 days a week. That's 4,500 you just did in target. 4,500 in target at an entry level, 90% contract is $4,050 that you just made in commissions in 1 week. $4,050. One sale a day, 75 bucks a month. There's your money right there. You just got to have high levels of activity. This isn't about one meeting. This is about having 20, 30, 40 meetings scheduled in 1 week, knowing that you're going to probably keep 3 to 4 of them and you're going to gain 1 client a day. 40, 50 meetings a week, right? So that's about 10 a day. You'll keep 3 or 4 of those 10. So you'll still lose 50 to 60% of your meetings to cancellations or reschedules. But 3 to 4 people you present on a daily basis, I guarantee you'll make 1 sale a day. 1 sale a day. The numbers they don't lie. You just got to follow them. You just got to follow the numbers. Follow the numbers and follow the numbers. When I'm scheduling meetings, I'm always scheduling either for today or tomorrow. I'm never scheduling for the next day after that. Mr. Klein, I have availability tonight or tomorrow. Which will be better for you? Tomorrow. Great. Mornings or evenings? Evenings. Okay, awesome. 7 or 9. Boom, 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 boom. Anything farther than that, because they can't meet you for whatever reason, I'll schedule it. But you know what I'm still going to do? I'm still going to call the next day to confirm it because it's too far out for them to remember. But I'm going to get back to it. They tell you, I want to talk insurance. Okay, great. Do you know how much insurance it is that you're thinking about obtaining, Mr. Client? They're going to tell you one of 2 things. They're going to say, well, I'm looking for about 10,000, or they're going to say, well, I'm kind of on a budget. I'm looking for something that doesn't go over 50 bucks a month. That's what they're going to give you as an answer, guys. I promise you, it's one or the other. I'm looking for X amount of insurance, or I don't want to go over this much monthly. Whatever that number is, kind of let you weigh it out. Then you say, well, Mr. Klein, are you aware how final expense insurance works? If you don't mind, I'd love to explain it to you. And then what I do is very simple. I take out my legal pad. By the way, guys, you want to have yellow legal pads. Yellow legal pads. Does anybody know why you want yellow legal pads? Anybody? People that are hard of seeing can see better on yellow than white pads. People who struggle with their eyesight can see better with yellow pads than they do with white pads. You want to have a yellow pad. And then the other thing you want to have with you black Sharpies. Black Sharpies. I have black Sharpies all the time. All the time. I have black Sharpies on me. Black Sharpies. Not a pen. It's not thick enough. So when I explain it, I say, okay, Mr. Client, let's do this. And I put this pad on the table, right? And I start explaining how final expense works. I said, well, listen, there's 2 types. Right? One of them will take you from today all the way to the last day that you're here on earth. This last day could very well be 121 years of age, and this right here is today. Okay, let me ask you a question because I'm looking at it on the camera and it's reverse. Are you guys seeing it forward the right way? You are? Okay, perfect, great, perfect. So I'll say, listen, this is going to give you anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 worth of coverage. It's very simple. As long as you make your monthly payment, if something happens to you within this window, you're protected. Something like this probably run you about 70 bucks a month. About 70 bucks a month. What's the positive? The positive is going to give you a death benefit. The negative, it only pays in the event of a death. They're going to say, well, what do you mean it only pays in the event of a death? Well, there's a second plan. Okay, this plan is called the GUL, a Guaranteed Universal Life Plan. This is a final expense. Mind the handwriting, guys. And obviously the way I'm writing is kind of rough. I write a lot nicer when it's on the table. look at Kenny there. He's like, oh my God, yeah, bro, that's rough. It's okay. It's okay. You get the point, right? So say the next one is called the GUL. How does this GUL work? Well, it's going to give you insurance from now until age 100. It's less time than this one. This one covers you to 121. This one covers you to age 100. Mr. Client, real quickly, do you have longevity in your family? Do you have anyone in your family that's lived past 100 years of age? 90% of people are going to tell you they've never gone past 94, 90, 93, 95. Most of them aren't. If they give you one that says, yeah, I went to 101, realize that the GUL lets you take this out farther if you want to. You could take this out to 121, but the longer the time period you're protecting, the more it costs. So just understand that piece. Most people are going to tell you my family doesn't go past 90. Okay, perfect. The way this plan works right here is that this plan is going to give you a death benefit, but it's also going to give you a living benefit. Living benefit means if you get sick, cancer, stroke, heart attack, or if you need a nurse to take care of you, you could tap into that money while you're alive. This one doesn't give you that option. This one says you got to pass away to get the money. This one gives you the money while you're alive if you end up getting those needs. Now, this plan costs a lot more money, Mr. Client. I won't lie to you. This plan right here, number one, at a minimum needs to be $25,000 of coverage. You can't go lower than that. And this one right here is probably going to run you about $100 to $150 a month. So what's the positive to this plan? Living benefits. What's the negative to this plan? Right? Costs more money than the first one. So Mr. Client, which of these two are you more interested in? They're going to tell you, guys. They're going to tell you. Now, don't be alarmed. 90% of the people are going to lean right here. 90% of the people are going to lean right here because of the budget. Because of the budget, because of the budget, because of the budget. That's okay. That is completely and utterly okay. But it's worth presenting this because you never know if they can afford this one instead. On top of that, this is how you create a nesting opportunity. You say, Mr. Client, I want you to know this product right here can go from $250,000 to $1 million and cost about $100 to $150 a month for the clients that are in their 40s and 50s. I'm sorry, the clients that are in their 30s and 40s, not 40s and 50s, I apologize. The clients that are in their 30s and 40s. I can actually get clients for that same $100 to $150 anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 if they're between 30 and 40 years of age. Do you happen to know someone between 30 and 40 that you would want to give them an opportunity to have this type of product in place so it doesn't cost them an arm and a leg when they turn your age? You see what I just did? Right, Mr. Client, that same $100 to $150 a month, I can get clients $250,000 to $500,000 for that same price, but they're typically between 30 and 40 years of age. Mr. Client, is there anyone that you know that could benefit from having this type of insurance at your age, but have $500,000 instead and not have to pay the price points that you'd have to pay? Right? They're going to go, well, listen, man, oh my God, you're telling me I can get $25,000 for $100, but my son could get $250,000 for $100? My son could get $300,000 for $100? You got to talk to my son. You got to talk to my son. Right? That's the way you're going to bring it up. Right? Now, again, 90% of the people are going to lean this route. Final expense right here. Plain vanilla, final expense. It's not a hard thing to do. Now, what you're going to do then afterwards is this. On your handy dandy phone. Okay. Let me do something here real quickly. I'm going to sign in from my phone. And I'm going to show you what I would do on my phone. What am I in? Agent training. All right. So let me see here. Can I be made? Oh, I am a co-host. Hang on. Let me see here. Foresters. Okay, perfect. All right, so let me share my screen here real quick. Start recording here. There's a couple apps you want to have on your phone ready to go. Take a look at these apps. One of them is a website. I save websites a lot as applications on my phone, right? But you want to download the Mutual of Omaha Quotes app. Here's what it looks like. Right? Just go to your Play Store, go to your App Store, download Quotes, Mutual of Omaha. You'll see it'll pop up. You're going to go to the Living Promise. You're going to fill in the information. This is a client from Florida. Let's say he's 60 years of age. He's a male. He's a non-tobacco user. $10,000 worth of coverage. Right? And you're going to hit calculate. Bam. Look, $10,000, it's $43.76. If they tell you they have a budget of 75, you know what you're going to do? You're going to try to get as close to 75 as possible. So increase the death benefit amount. Calculate. There it is, 84 bucks a month. 84 bucks a month is 20,000 of coverage. Let's drop that down to 18,000. Calculate 76.21. You might not be presenting Mutual of Omaha. You might still want to be presenting Oxford. The prices are all pretty close, pretty stinking close, side by side, right? Now Oxford, I'm still working with them to see if they have a phone application to do it. I think they do. I just don't have it on my phone to show it to you. If they have it, I would go that route first. I would definitely go that route first. This one right here is Mutual of Omaha's Living Promise, right? Then if you want, right, you can go to Foresters if you wish. Foresters, it's forestersquotes.com. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually send you this link right now on our chat room so that you guys can save it. You're going to save it on your phone as an app. You save it on your home screen. What you're going to do is you go to Plan Right. And again, the same thing. Let's go to California. Let's find the same thing, a 60-year-old male, non-tobacco, 18,000 just to compare the Mutual of Omaha one. Run the quote. Look at the price, $78 a month. Mutual of Omaha was $76. This one's $78. It's not that far off, guys. It's not that far off. It's a pretty simple quote to run right then and there. And if they decide that they want to do it, open up your computer, log into the carrier website, submit the application. It's going to take you about 30 minutes to submit the application. I recommend that you practice it a few times. Okay, practice it a few times. Once you're contracted, you know, run a quote, submit. Don't fully submit an application, but open up the application and start the application process and get used to the questions. Just don't fully submit it. Do one on yourself. Do one on your significant other. Do it on your kids. Do one on a mock person, a role play of a person. Just practice it so that you don't make mistakes when you're there. Does anybody have any questions about this? No? Everybody's a master pro already at this? Okay. Now, let me now tell you how to begin the process of nesting. Okay? Because what I showed you is very transactional. This is very transactional, right? You saw it, right? Let me explain to you the two types of insurances. You've got, you know, final expense. You've got GUL. Here's the pros and cons. Here's the pros and cons. What's the pro? What's the pro to final expense? Go ahead and unmute yourself. See if you remember what I told you. What's the pro? Anybody? The pro is it pays in the event of a death. What's the con? It only pays in the event of a death. See that? The pro is the exact same con. Pro, it pays in the event of a death. Cost effective. Con, it only pays in the event of a death. That tees you up to talk about the GUL. The GUL Pro, it pays in the event of a death and a living benefit. The con, it costs more money. The con is it costs more money, but you're explaining both products. You're explaining both products. Now, the GUL guys that I would be looking at, I'd be looking at Nationwide has a pretty decent GUL platform with living benefits, and I'd be looking at American National has a pretty decent GUL platform with living benefits. Those are the two companies you want to be looking at. Those are the two companies. New York, American National. I don't even know if Nationwide in New York has living benefits, but I know that Anico does in the state of New York. Right? Those are the companies that you're essentially looking at. Keep it simple. Now, when the client applies, here's the way you want to, here's how you begin nesting. You ready? You say, Mr. Client, who are the two beneficiaries that you would assign in the event of your unfortunate passing? These two. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now, who are the three contingent beneficiaries that you would assign in the event that neither you or your beneficiaries are alive to receive the money? Who are the three backups? 1, 2, 3. You see how I led them? I want 3 of these. I want 2 of these. Get their names. Boom. Get their phone numbers. Boom. Get their dates of birth. Boom. Get where they reside. Boom. Because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to say this, Mr. Client, I want you to know my job, my fiduciary responsibility is that your beneficiaries understand what happens in the event that this insurance policy has to be exercised. They need to know what the protocol is if something happens to you. There's so many people out there nowadays that have insurance policies that beneficiaries have no idea they have. Then the person passes away and years go by and the beneficiaries have no idea that there was something in place for them. It's my fiduciary responsibility to make sure each one of those individuals know who I am, know what the 800 numbers are in the event that something happens, and know what these policies do and don't do, along with what the protocol is in the event of something happening to you. Okay, Mr. Client, with your permission, I'd like to contact these individuals and let them know exactly what it is that you applied for. I don't have to give them the dollar amounts if you wish me not to, but I at least want them to know what company it's with and what my phone number is and what these plans do in the event of. Is that okay with you? Yes, it is. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to do this during the first week to 2 weeks that we process this application, because I want to make sure that my job is done and that they have the proper how-tos in the event of. And Mr. Client, by the way, as a courtesy to you for taking action with me, Mr. Client, I want to give you this packet. This is called the Kaizen Soulmate Packet. I want to explain to you for a moment what exactly it is it does. Then you go ahead and you explain what the Kaizen Soulmate Packet is, how it works, right? That's the packet that you're going to give to your beneficiaries so that they know what the policy number is, the 800 numbers are, what the assets are, what the liabilities are. Your last will and testament could be there. All your major documents are there in that one packet. That's like your emergency packet that you're going to use. Mr. Client, this comes from me to you as a courtesy for trusting me with your insurance needs. Right? What did you just do? You took one client, one lead, made a sale, and you also got 5 new appointments. And you know what you're going to do in those appointments? It's very simple. You contact those people up, hey, how are you, Steve? Listen, Steve, I'm calling you in reference to John. John recently took out an insurance policy and he's assigned you. I just want you to know how lucky. I want you to understand how much trust he places in you. He's assigned you as a beneficiary to the policy in the event of something happening. My name is Tony Martinez. I'm the agent that actually assisted in this process. It's my fiduciary responsibility to make sure that you understand what this plan does and doesn't do, what the protocol is in the event of. I like to set up a 20-minute phone call with you, a 20-minute meeting with you, a 20-minute virtual meeting with you to explain to you how these plans work so you know what to do in the event of. When can we sit down? Right? And if it's a younger generation, it could be a Zoom meeting, no problem, because they're used to that. If it's not a younger generation, it's a brother or a sister, it's another face-to-face meeting. You have to have that emotional intelligence. You have to have that intelligence to kind of pivot and adjust. They're younger, boom, virtual. They're not younger, boom, let's meet face-to-face again. Let's meet face-to-face again. Let's transact business, right? But giving them a chance for number one, for you to present the product could open up another case. Could very well open up another case, because you know what I'm going to do to the younger generation? I'm going to explain to them what the final expense policy does, but I'm also going to explain to them what a GUL does. I'm going to explain to them what an IUL does, and I'm going to say, listen, I just want you to know you're in a different age bracket. If by chance you wish to get your finances in place and in order, these are some of the products that are available to you that your parents don't have access to, that whoever that was that assigned you that money, they don't have access to it because it financially doesn't fit for them any longer. Because they're older, it costs that much more money, but for you, it actually costs a lot less. It gives you a chance to open up another case, I guarantee you, you sit 5 people, you'll close on another 1 at least. And you know what you do with that 1? Same thing. 2 beneficiaries, 3 contingents, schedule meetings. 2 beneficiaries, 3 contingents, schedule meetings. This is how you go down that family tree. This is how you turn 1 lead into a nesting opportunity where you're just hanging out inside of that family, simply because I'm a field underwriter and it's my fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the beneficiaries alongside the contingent beneficiaries know exactly what it is that you have. I see agents shortchanging the contingent all the time just because they don't want to get the information, just because they want to drag their feet with it. Don't drag your feet on that. That's a huge opportunity to find more sales. That's how you start working in a nesting market. That's how you work from the older market to the younger market. Newsflash, guys, the younger market is going to have a lot more money and they're going to qualify for IULs a heck of a lot more. They're going to have 401ks that need to get rolled over a heck of a lot more. So anyhow, with that being said, it's 10 o'clock on my clock here. Hopefully this training was valuable. I'd love 1 or 2 people to give me their feedback. Tell me the top 2 things that you learned from this training so that I could feel good that I brought some value to the table to you guys.
I would say the process of nesting. I've definitely never heard that coming from what we call the practice company. I've never in my life heard something like that. And you've always heard grab a bit, 1 beneficiary, but you've never heard 2. And you definitely never heard 3 contingents. That's not even something I can say that I've ever used. So that was definitely very valuable to me.
Good stuff. Glad you like that. Anybody else?
I think Jonte's trying to say something, but we can't hear you.
I think so.
We can't hear you.
I think so. Good amount of people on, 25 on. We got close to our number. All right, guys. Well, listen, let me hear your feedback. Let me see you on the group chat. Give your feedback. These are the kinds of trainings that we're going to be doing every single Monday night, every single Saturday in the morning. Saturday, we'll break down more of the companies, how the plans work, how to run the illustrations. Monday nights are always going to be about these types of role plays on the field. And I promise you, we will do IULs, we will do index annuities, we will do group benefits, we will do that. But I just want to see a large group of you guys get into that final expense. I think what I'm going to do is a mortgage protection training this coming Saturday. So I can show you how those mortgage protection leads work. Okay? All right, guys. Be blessed. Have a good one. See you
Thanks,
guys.
Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.